us to God, and on earth peace, goodwill among men.
Hello, this is part 2 of my chat on happiness, pain, and numbness, and how these interplay in our daily lives, especially on this what I call an axis of awareness, which is our ever-increasing awareness of reality, the way things really are. And as we come into the awareness of Christ and of God, and of the goodness of creation, and naturally the joy that we experience from beholding all of these things and realizing that even that God is within us. Moving back away from God, we approach closer and closer to death, and in the center of that is pain. And pain is the force that actually drives us towards God if we can get through it. Down here, when we arise out of numbness, we encounter pain. We tend to want to flee from pain and go back to numbness. As I said before, our minds will often then confuse numbness with a good feeling, but that is not the case. This is where we have addictions. Addictions tend to come into this area right here, where the numbness that the addictive activity brings brings us a sort of a pleasurable sensation in that it distracts us from our suffering. But then the question remains is, what exactly is pain? There are many different books and writings on the topic of human pain. For the purposes of what I'm doing here, pain is an indication that things are not right. They're not the way they should be. Pain comes in many different forms as far as the human mind is concerned. Our primary pains come through our resentments and anger and unforgiveness of other people. These are the senses of what I call indebtedness. Somebody owes me something, and that means that I am without, I am lacking. And the other type of suffering is the one of my debts to others, things that I have done to others, things where I fall short, let's say. And these two types of sufferings weigh on our consciences. And of course, these are indications that we are out of alignment of the goodness of the universe, the way God has created things to be. We are not supposed to be, in a sense, in a broken communion with our brothers and sisters, that these two conditions indicate or exist within us. Rather, we're supposed to be in loving communion with other people. We are supposed to forgive and allow that load to be released from us, and realize that all things really come from God. It's not a matter that other people are taking from us. They can't take anything from us. All things come from God. And the obverse is true as well, as even though we let's say we'll do something to another person, we do have the ability to repent of that, to apologize for it, and to make some type of restitution. Ultimately, we need to turn to God to fix what we have broken. The analogy you can use here is that if I take an axe, let's say, and I cut off my arm. My arm is not going to grow back. That's not the nature of it. God can heal that wound, but and I could go to a doctor and have it fixed and all that, but it's not necessarily going to grow back. So then the question is, well, what do you do next? And this is where we turn to God, because actually God can renew and restore and do the things that we cannot do. And this is why human apologies on their own really are insufficient, because they don't fix, they don't make something grow back. Only God can do something like that. But getting back here to the topic of running from pain, the dominant issue with pain is that little barrier that occurs right here in front of the pain wall. And this barrier I will call fear. Because before we actually encounter pain, we're going to encounter a fear of pain. Before we actually experience the full, let's say, torment of suffering, there is that intimidation that occurs right before it. And this, there is really the primary, let's say, enemy of spiritual growth is pain. Anytime we are, fear. Anytime we're experiencing fear, it will block our growth. And how we cope with fear is the topic I'm going to bring up in the next few videos. So please stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, please consider this in the role of pain and numbness, and ultimately what we were created to experience, which is joy in God. So I hope to see you soon. Take care.